And welcome to the Meadowlands for Breeders' Crown Weekend as it continues. Night 2, Wendy Ross for U.S. Trotting. We're so nice to have you with us. We're rolling on with another one of our live preview shows. Now, joining me, I have a special co-host with me tonight, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Gabe Pruitt. Gabe, thank you so much for finding the time in your busy schedule to stop by and be here with us tonight.
Well, it's my pleasure, of course, Wendy. It's great to be here at the Breeders' Crown. It's great to be with you guys here at the live stream. We're getting set. It's go time almost, so this will help lead us closer to post time.
Now, I interviewed Dexter a couple weeks there at Lexington. Now, I don't know, when looking at the sport of harness racing, I don't know who's busier, you or Dexter. You guys are down there in Kentucky, you're here, you're there, you're in New Jersey. I don't know how you do it, but it's a lot of fun, right?
It is, yeah. I wouldn't do anything that I didn't enjoy doing. So, yeah, I have a blast going around. Those guys are busier than I am, by the way. I've seen them hit 3 stops on one day. I've never gotten that erratic quite yet, but just fortunate to have some good opportunities and work for a lot of good people that allow me to be flexible and travel around and get to enjoy some of the biggest moments each year.
Now, I don't know about you. I can't believe that it's already the end of October. I feel like we see each other at every event. We're like, can you believe it's this? Can you believe it's Hamiltonian? And then we're down there in Kentucky. It seems like we've been following these horses since all the way back in the spring. The year, it just seems to fly, and they seem to go faster each year.
Yeah, it's crazy, and you're exactly right, because the winter seems to drag on a little bit, particularly now without my love in South Florida with the palm closed. It seems to drag on, but when you start getting keyed up with stake season, end of May, 1st of June, the 2-year-olds are out, and the next thing you know, here we are, it's Breeders' Crown night.
So surreal for me to be here back at the Meadowlands, from doing TV so long ago, working with our great friend Sam McKee. Now, I remember talking to Sam. He said, Wendy, I got a special guy. This is going back 10 years now, just yesterday, it seems like. But he says, I got a special guy. His name is Gabe Pruitt. He's doing big things. So cool. I know our friend is smiling up above, thinking of you and me sitting here at the Meadowlands to cover the Breeders' Crown for you on Fox, of course, and for me just through U.S. Trotting. So I know our good friend Sam is looking down on us today. Now, talk about a couple of our sponsors. Of course, harnessracing.com has the U.S. Trotting. We created harnessracing.com. Gabe, for the new fan of harness racing. Now, when you're out and about, which we know you seem to be out and about at times doing things down there in Kentucky and whatnot. When people say, what do? You said, no, I'm in harness racing. Harnessracing.com, they said, what exactly is harness racing? Of course, being down there in thoroughbred country, right? You have to distinguish. And you could tell them, head over to harnessracing.com.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's great to engage new fans, and give them an introduction and, on a level that they're going to be comfortable. Obviously, walking to any racetrack, it's a little intimidating to dive right into these PPs and see what's all going on from top to bottom. So I think it's fantastic. And, yeah, we are overwhelmed a little bit by the thoroughbred business down there. But we see a lot more crossover now than we've ever had before. So it's been great. I think we raced Sunday evening cars this year at Red Mile, so our attendance was well up. And, so many thoroughbred people seem to just, want to come check it out. And that's really cool to see, particularly with how good the stakes program is, the yearling sale. So I think that we're working our way back on the radar.
And it's so cool that you got it under the lights down there at the Red Mile. Our other sponsors are On Gate for all your online sale purchases, Standardbred Sales Company, and the Hamiltonian Society, who does so much for staking and all of our great events throughout the year. Now, guests today, we have some special guests. We always seem to get some good guests here. It's like the momentum. We have trainer Luc Belay, who had a cold in last night. I don't think he did so well. We're going to talk to Luc here, see what he thinks about his 4 contenders he has in. John Campbell, you might have heard of that guy. Yannick Gingras, Dexter Dunn, and Derek Givner to help us out in the handicapping part at the end. But let's talk about last night. We saw some really nice 2-year-olds, right? Kind of things that were a little bit unexpected, but some true to form. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a great night of racing. Pretty much true to form. I mean, no huge blowouts. Lady Landia somehow was a big upsetter, but my goodness, she won the elimination. I have no idea still how she got off that big of a price, but that was sort of absurd. As Greg Reinhardt, I think, posted on Twitter a little earlier today. It's amazing to believe Oka Swanstedt at one point was 0 for 36 at the Breeders in his first 36 Breeders' Crown tries. That streak has been snapped long ago.
Certainly has.
And over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a great race. Mickey and Minnie, I thought that was probably the most impressive effort of the night for me. She was out nearly every step of the mile. Dex got to duck her for maybe a 16th or so, and uncovered there, working up against a good filly. Looks good in Lulu.
Well, I got to interview Chris Ryder after the win with Mickey and Minnie, and I said, you had post 8 in the elimination, you had post 9 in the final, but I said you had Mickey and Minnie And he had Dexter. And he said, you're right, always good to have a good driver, but he was really high on his filly. But, it was all about the kiddos last night, right? We got to see Dexter get the win there for Marcus Melander, and we got to see his daughter Haley in the winner's circle with the rose. If you watched live last night, you got to see Haley. Oh, my goodness. It was something to see. And then Ronnie Wren, the Ohio guy, doing big things, was only the second time in the Breeders' Crown. He took his first Breeders' Crown trophy home, had his son Easton with him last night. Those were the moments last night that really stole my heart.
Yeah, it's great, and everyone from the beginning of the year, from the beginning of a horse's life, for that matter, everyone's, aiming at the Breeders' Crown. So it's great to see, somebody have success and get it done. It's sort of like a mission accomplished moment, and great that they can share that with, no special to them.
Well, it's so cool to see these guys doing it. Now they're all having kids and watching the kids in Winner's Circle. I know it's so special to them. It makes the moment even more memorable. Now tonight we got 8 more divisions on tap. Few wide open here. What do you think? I mean, I don't think going in, we've been talking about this race. Everyone seems to be talking about these races throughout the week. No clear big favorites. I feel like some of these divisions are wide open. What do you think?
Yeah, they are. I think that's the type of night if you're out there wagering, which a lot of us are, most of us are, we hope. But I think that most of the favorites, Wendy, they're not overwhelming types. So if they got roughed up a little bit, I think there are plenty of horses that can step up, pull off some upsets. So I think it's a type of night where you're going to take some swings, and hopefully you only have to be right once and get the right price across.
A few stories. We have 5 horses are looking to go back to back to take the Breeders' Crown as they did last year, and going to come back and look to take another crown with them. Can Twin B Joe Fresh get back to the winner's circle? I think she can.
Oh, she absolutely can, but I don't want to discredit the horse that beat her at all. Former Breeders' Crown winner herself, Grace Hill. She won in 2022. She was actually the favorite last year, 6-5. But Hoosier Park, she was defeated. But, those two were well clear of the rest of the field. So, I don't think it was a case where Twin B Joe Fresh raced poorly. I think Grace Hill just stepped up. I think she's finally cycling back into top form. And, I still think for wagering purposes tonight that Twin B Joe Fresh is going to be overbet a little bit. I think Grace Hill might be dismissed at a pretty good price back in there, but it'll be interesting to see.
Another thing, we have the Burke Connections, of course, for TCI. Are we going to see TCI get back to the TCI? Now that Carl out of that division, I feel like we have 6 hours still getting a little bit of my favor. That division's wide open. And what about By the Missile? He's had a short year, but I think he's looking to finish the year out strong.
Yeah, and I know Ronnie, we spoke to him last night on the Fox broadcast. He seems to be very confident that he's back to his old self. So I think that he's very confident he'll tack on another one tonight, and he's picked a good time to land back in prime time form.
A lot of ways to watch the action tonight. We have the FS2 broadcast. You're part of that, of course, from 7:30 to 11. We have the Breeders' Crown live stream from 7:30 to 11 with Emily Gaskin and Michael Carter in the Connections. Breeders' Crown.
Change the game for the better. The best place to buy and sell horses. I've had great success. Indispensable. Since holding their first sale in 2001, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace with over 13,500 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
It all comes down to the Breeders' Crown on Friday, October 25th and Saturday, October 26th at the Meadowlands Racetrack. The $6.6 million Breeders' Crown has 12 championship races over 2 days. Friday night highlights the top 2-year-old trotters and pacers. Saturday features 4 divisions for the top 3-year-olds and 4 races for the world's best open trotters and pacers. Post time both nights, 6:20 p.m. October 26th also has a free handicapping contest with a $10,000 prize pool. Details at playmeadowlands.com. Must be 18 or older to wager. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Just get 500 Dane, 500 down, 500.
The Harrisburg sale from the Standardbred Horse Sales Company is happening November 4th through the 8th. See all the entries online by visiting theblackbook.com.
November 15th and 16th. The HarnessRacing.com preview show is sponsored in part by the Standardbred Horse Sales Company. It all happens at Harrisburg. View the entries for the yearling sale and mixed sale online at theblackbook.com. Pedigrees, videos, and updates are available for iPad users on Equiline. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Wendy Ross, Gabe Pruitt, now joined by the one and only Mr. John Campbell. John, thank you so much for catching up and stopping by tonight.
My pleasure, Wendy.
We're so glad to have you. Now, of course, you're the president and CEO of the Hambletonian Society. But let me ask you a quick question. When you come into the Breeders' Crown weekend, you might be lying to yourself if you say you wouldn't wish that you still were putting on those colors every now and then.
No, I don't at all anymore. I did miss it the first year I was away from it when the weather was good, just 3 drops of rain, and I didn't miss it. But no, I'm fully retired and comfortable with my decision. I'm in a great place. I'm still around the big events and the great races, and so that it's a good spot for me. I miss being young, but
Yeah.
I don't miss driving.
You don't miss driving. Now, Gabe, we were at the Jug there last year. It was like a whole big surprise thing because you told Tom Wright, you said if you get the Jug to go for $1 million, you were going to come back at Delaware, and we got you back to Delaware to do that post parade. That was cool.
It was cool. I really enjoyed that. It was fun. I got a great reception from the fans all the way around the track, and so it was fun to do. And just to, sit behind that horse, and you're thinking, back in the day when you were driving and thinking, geez, if I had the rail and the Jug, send one in there as hard as he can go. That's what you live for.
Gabe, I don't know, if we would have did a little Twitter poll and we would have said, what would you do if John Campbell was back driving at the Meadowlands on Breeders' Crown Night Saturday? I think we would have got some even more people in the stands tonight.
Oh, yeah. No, that John's always going to be grab some attention. There's no question about that. That was awesome, by the way, on Jug Day. And we're also trying to push John a little bit more into the broadcasting part. Now, he was on the set last night with us on FS1, and he actually hosted a show from the studio earlier this year and did an outstanding job, John.
Well, I don't know about an outstanding job. I'm well aware of my limitations as a TV personality, but I did enjoy doing the show, and it was great to see behind-the-scenes stuff, everything that goes into that show, as you guys are well aware of, and that was educational for me, so I was really glad that I did it in that regard. And Acacia was great to work with, and I'm just such a big fan of the Fox Naira national show that we have going on, America's Day at the Races, and I'm hoping we can continue that.
John, I brought up with a great Sam McKee just a little while ago with Gabe. How special is it to be here back at the Meadowlands? You still kind of, he's here, and he's joining us throughout the weekend here.
He does, and he casts such a long shadow wherever he went, but certainly here at the Meadowlands. Sam was a friend of mine, and we bounced stuff off each other. When I was driving, just with what we thought was good ideas that might work for promotion, and just a tremendously talented individual, but more important, just a great human being.
Gabe, and I know you.
No, he really was. He was my greatest mentor in the business. Quite frankly, I wouldn't be in the business if it were not for Sam. I started off as a teller at Red Mile, and eventually met Sam, and sort of took me under my wing and told me a little bit about what to do. So now you're stuck with me.
He's hotter than canned beer. Now, talking about the Hambletonian Society, responsible for so many things, from the staking to putting all of these Breeders' Crown events possible. What goes through the year for you with this?
Well, it's a year-round planning for both Hambletonian and Breeders' Crown. Those are our 2 biggest events, and obviously 2 of the biggest events in the industry. But it's a year-round, initiative to keep. And you're always trying to do better from the next year. Obviously, we think we got a great card with great races last night, and certainly a great card again tonight. And that's what we're striving for: is to have the best horses meeting, and to crown a true champion. But it's fun to be involved with it. We're very fortunate with our host tracks. Obviously the Meadowlands knows how to put on big events, and the tradition of great racing continues here. And we're going to Woodbine at Mohawk next year. Looking forward to that. They've had tremendous success putting on Breeders' Crowns in the past, and I expect it'll be even better next year.
Have we heard any word of where it's going after Woodbine? I know some people are throwing their hats in the ring.
We are certainly considering some other venues that people are maybe not aware of. I don't want to put anything out there publicly yet, but we're seriously considering moving to a spot that has never had a Breeders' Crown, or certainly all the events. And that's something I look forward to. I think the more venues that we can incorporate into that Breeders' Crown rotation, the better. It's better for the sport, and certainly fans in that area, and something that we encourage.
Now, guys, talking about the Breeders' Crown, the races began in 1984, have dispersed over $230 million since way back there, 40 years ago. Now, John, you're the winningest driver in Breeders' Crown history, taking home $22 million of that $230 million. That has to make you smile a little bit.
Well, it does. I really wasn't aware of how much I had earned in it. I was very fortunate to have a lot of success in it, and it was something you look forward to every year. And as soon as the stake season started, you're thinking about what horses you have in each division and how you think they're going to stack up, whether they're good enough to continue through the year and be one of the leaders and be a Breeders' Crown horse. And it was just so special. It was special when we moved it around from track to track with one for sure, but once they started hosting it all in one night or over 2 nights, it was just something that, as a driver, you just wanted to be part of, and to have success, that's why everybody's in it.
Yeah, no, one of the things we mentioned last night on the Fox Show that just blew my mind about John's career in the Breeders' Crown, streak that is going to take a while to be broken. 1984 to 1998, John won a Breeders' Crown final every single year, so 15 consecutive years. And then the year that the streak snapped was 99. He didn't win a final. He was still the leading money-winning driver.
John,
so that's pretty incredible.
Are you glad you came tonight? Look, we got all this information for you.
It's more information than I keep track of. For sure, but
That one came from Hollywood Hayden, by the way, so that's my
that's a good
encyclopedia.
one, yeah.
He is the source. There's no question about that, Bob. He can come up with more stats than anybody in any sport I would put him up against.
One question, John, that I've had asked a couple of times. Do you guys get involved the host tracks to determine if it's a 2-night event as opposed to a 1-night event? What goes into that decision?
It's really up to the host tracks. We try and work with them. This is the format we've come up with a few years ago, and the racetracks are all on board with it, and we like to be consistent. And we feel it's working very well, but we'll certainly tailor our event to any host track or try and work with them. It isn't something we have hard and fast rules on.
Now, John, thinking about a driver, let's say Dexter Dunn, right? Having that good of a run, he's had these years that just keep going and going. You've been on
Everything comes naturally to you as a driver. Obviously, he's got great horses that he's dealing with, and he's great trainers, but he's putting him in the right spots, and that's just coming so natural to him because he has so much confidence in himself and the horses that he's driving. And when you get on a run like that, it's just special, and you try not to think too much about it and just let the races come to you. Conversely, when things are going bad, you can drive a horse perfectly and it doesn't work out. And it's just, it runs in cycles like that for everyone. But Dexter is really on a great run, but he's a tremendous talent. That's the bottom line. He's talented.
Now, take us back. What was that run like for you?
I can't even tell you because I didn't dwell on them, whether I was going good or bad at the time. I was one of those guys, certainly, when things are going well, as I said, it just came so natural, and you let the race come to you. And even sometimes when you're going good, you can make a bad move when it works out. Life science being a perfect example. But I can't really look back and say, geez, that was a great run I was on, because I really didn't dwell on things at the time. I was always looking ahead to the next race, to the next event, to the next meet coming up.
No, John, as gamblers out there, we always remember the near misses, the close losses. We usually don't remember when anything good happens. That's just sort of how we're wired. How good were you at turning the page, so to speak, if something didn't go right? Did you dwell on that for a while, or were you good at just moving on to the next race or the next night?
I tried to be good at it. It was sometimes hard. Sometimes, you thought, that was such a bad break. And, Paula will tell you I didn't get over it as quick as I will tell you I did. But it's something you just have to do as a catch driver. You got to turn the page, and you have to turn it quickly, because if something happens in a $600,000 race tonight, you got another $600,000 race coming up next.
Perfect example. Last night, Dexter made a break with Ludo Lovegood, the first final, and bounced right back and won. So that's
and it's just something that as a driver you learn to train yourself to do that.
Now, speaking of catch drivers, the way the schedule is nowadays, right? It's different than it was 15 years ago, but let's talk about 25 years ago, when everything was kind of just in one place, different, right? Now these guys are on different planes. They're in 4 or 5 different places in 1 week. How do you think that is? And I've asked these guys, you see them, they look tired, but they're happy to be doing what they're doing. How do you think that's changed now from back when you were in your prime?
Well, before there was casino slot money, the Sire Stakes in New York and Pennsylvania, the legs weren't worth traveling to. We were racing for more money here in the overnight races in the Meadowlands. So we actually had it really good here at the Meadowlands because the overnight purses were so good. All the horses had to come to us. We didn't have to travel near as much. We traveled a lot when the Meadowlands closed. We were running all over the place through Breeders' Crown time, Lexington Jug, and out in the Midwest and things like that. But when you're at the Meadowlands, there would only be 5 or 6 times during that meet that you would travel to. You'd go to North America Cup, maybe to Montreal for the Prix d'Été or Prix de l'Avenir or something like that. But it's totally different now. Back in the day, I would never consider taking the winter off because the Meadowlands purses were so good you just couldn't afford to. I see where these guys are coming from. They need a break because they're running from really 1st of June right through till 1st of December. They're traveling all over, and I think you have to have a break sometime.
Yeah, and I wonder, how they'll fare, especially because this is really like the second year that this schedule's been like this, right? So, but I think they're doing okay, right, for now?
Well, there's one thing you have to remember. They're independent contractors.
Yes.
They can come or go as they please. I know, you feel obligated as a driver to do that, but, if you get run down and tired, you can just say, I'm going to take the weekend off.
Now, guys, looking back at the Breeders' Crown memories for you, John, you have 313 starts, 48 wins with 38 horses. So that's how we had to figure that out, how it was 38 champions with 48 trophies. So some of those horses obviously won you multiple Breeders' Crowns. With 50 seconds, you got a UDRS of a 288. You're the winningest driver of all time with, we said, the highest money earner worth over $22 million. Multiple years you took the leading driver in stats there. Now, a few of the past winners, some of these are multiple wins: Mac Lobel, Arts Place, Broadway Hall, Big Towner, J. Lobel, Snow White, Art Major, Muscles Yankee, Valley Victory. Gabe, these are some of the best horses you've ever seen race in all of harness racing.
Yeah, the who's who of the
Yes.
lineup. We put John to the test last night on air. I said, do you remember all 48 of those wins? He said, most, basically, right, John?
There's some that would slip by me. But certainly some of them stand out. And obviously, when you're talking about that, Mac Lobel and Arts Place, you're talking to two of the all-time greats, arguably, certainly in the top 10, I would think, both of them. But yeah, very fortunate to come across those horses, and Arts Place's race as a 2-year-old was just phenomenal. It was an all-age track record for a 2-year-old at the time, which was unheard of. And then if you were there in person, the wind blowing 35, 40 mile an hour winds, I was just in awe.
Yeah, I can tell you that it was a popular subject. It would come up 2 or 3 times a race meet, even towards the end at Pompano, and many that were there that night would talk about the weather conditions. We think, usually South Florida, it's so nice, but apparently that night was not so great.
It was really windy, and as I said, I just couldn't believe he just did what he did when he went under the wire, and he did it so easy. He could have gone more.
Now, speaking of Arts Place, we just did a piece on Brittany Farms, and that's what they talked about. What a gentleman he was. He was just one of the best, greatest horses of all time.
He was. He really was a great 2-year-old. He was okay at 3. He went into the Meadowlands Pace as favorite and finished second. Precious Bunny beat him, but he didn't finish the year up. He ran into some health issues, and then he came back at 4. And, undefeated season at the free-for-all ranks. I mean, that's really hard to do.
Now, thinking about some of those horses, the great horses that you were able to drive, did you have nerves? What were the nerves like going into some of those races, though? I got to know some. Just ask that little question.
Well, certainly there's nerves, yes. There are. Certainly when you're younger, the first time you get to drive in those big races, you're more nervous, and you just want to make sure, geez, I don't want it to be my fault if the horse doesn't perform well. As you move along, you kind of comes easier to you, and you've got more confidence in yourself, and then there's sometimes you just drive bad. It's as simple as that. So I learned to deal with that quite well, and but as you get older or move along, more experience, the nerves kind of subside.
John, thank you so much for taking time. One more thing before you let you go. What do you still enjoy the most about Breeders' Crown?
Just seeing the great horses get together. And that's one thing you alluded to. These drivers are driving all over the place, and some of these horses have raced in different jurisdictions and been successful, and they haven't met all at once. They're meeting here tonight.
Gabe?
Yeah, that's the most exciting thing, I think, as well. You take a filly like Sugar instead. from the Ohio circuit that's came in with the elimination, and I think it's great as well. I mean, I enjoy the wagering side personally myself, but I think it just really makes for intriguing matchups because, as John said, a lot of times we see these horses just week in, week out race against each other. So it's nice to throw some fresh faces in the mix and see how horses fit in from other jurisdictions. We see a lot of Ontario horses, come down for the first time that haven't danced a lot of the big dances.
I know. Well, we're already getting into action. You can hear it here as we're right here live in the driver's room at the Meadowlands. So you hear us in the background, the things we're getting. John, thank you so much for being with us, and it's always a pleasure. And stay with us as we'll be right back as we bring in driver Yannick Gingras.
Change the game for the better. The best place to buy and sell horses. I've had great success.
Okay, John,
Indispensable. Since holding their first sale in 2001, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace with over 13,500 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
It all comes down to the Breeders' Crown on Friday, October 25th and Saturday, October 26th at the Meadowlands Racetrack. The $6.6 million Breeders' Crown has 12 championship races over 2 days. Friday night highlights the top 2-year-old trotters and pacers. Saturday features 4 divisions for the top 3-year-olds and 4 races for the world's best open trotters and pacers. Post time both nights, 6:20 p.m. October 26th also has a free handicapping contest with a $10,000 prize pool. Details at playmeadowlands.com. Must be 18 or older to wager. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Just get 500 Dane, everybody get 500 down, everybody get 500, get there.
The Harrisburg sale from the Standardbred Horse Sales Company is happening November 4th through the 8th. See all the entries online by visiting theblackbook.com.
Pedigrees, videos, and updates are available for iPad users on Equiline. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Wendy Ross and Gabe Pruitt, now joined by driver Yannick Gingras. Yannick, thank you so much for stopping by. How are you feeling tonight?
Yeah, pretty good, actually. I'm ready to rock tonight.
Well, we were really glad to have you here. Of course, you evaded some big injuries up there at Plainridge. Tell us about what happened.
She just dropped. Honestly, I'm not too sure. I thought it was the only way she could get beat if she falls on the track. And when you go to the racing, just avoid trouble, she'll win. And well, she fell on the track.
Yeah.
So, just got lucky. Honestly, it could have been ugly, but thankfully everybody avoided me, and we're good to go.
You said, God, it's Breeders' Crown weekend. Let's keep it together here, right? Now, 2024 has been a great year for you.
Yeah, it's been good. Finally got the AMBO. So after that day, I was like, you know what, everything else is gravy from here on out. It'd be nice to have a Breeders' Crown, but win or lose, of course I want to win, but it's been a great year either way.
It didn't care that it was raining, literally
Was it raining?
pouring down rain, right?
John and I think were the two out there getting
right.
closer to the rain.
I actually was safely under an umbrella that day, but we were rooting for you, and that just turned out to be such a great horse race.
Yeah, it really was. It turned out to maybe too close of a horse race for my own taste. I would like if it was maybe a bit easier, but you got your job done. It's unfortunate. The racing next year, maybe even longer than that. So it's unfortunate, but that's horse racing, right? They, you can make all the plans you want, but plans only is not very good sometimes.
It's crazy how we watch your kids and keep growing. We keep getting older, and so do they. But it was such a great day for you to have your whole family there. The kids are grown, and they knew and they know what that meant for you.
Yeah, now you're going to choke me up again.
I won't. Not this time, I promise.
Yeah, I thought it was over with that. Yeah, it definitely meant everything. It really did, having them there. Like you said, they're getting older, they, Jaden's going to be 20 soon. So they understand the meaning of the race. They understand harness racing now. They're not little anymore. And they get it. They know how important it is, and you know they were just as happy as I was, if not more. So that was definitely special for all of us.
Now, of course, talk about Carl, the great horse that had a great year for you last year, took home a Breeders' Crown for you, came back and made such a great year. What a great horse he is, right? Now, of course, we're sad to see him not be in these Breeders' Crown final, but take us through kind of Kentucky to last week, and now it's going to be hard to say goodbye. What a great horse he is.
Yeah, he really was, and unfortunate though, to be honest, I think since Embo Day, he really hadn't been the same. Like he went to Kentucky, he won the first two starts there, 3 starts, whatever. But like you know, he didn't have the same pop finishing as he had like you know earlier in the year, even through the Sire Sec. I know the competition was a little tougher and stuff, but I knew he wasn't quite the same horse, you know. And then he got beat in the Sire Sec final, where a race he really shouldn't have gotten beat. So you could tell like something wasn't right for him for a while, you know, and. You know, after the futurity, he obviously wasn't good at all. Like, you know, he bled, he was sick. You know, I had 2 weeks to try to help him out a little bit, and then, you know, come back last time, he's, you know, bled and sick again, you know. So, like, yeah, it's the sad part of it is that, you know, I kind of wish even win or lose, it doesn't matter, but you want a horse like that to end on his own term. You know, like, you want him to, you know, finish when we want to finish, not for a situation like this. You know, what he did, back-to-back $1 million season, you know, Breeders' Crown champ, you know, all the hype. And it was a lot of it, you know what I mean? And truthfully, like, you know, hindsight, you kind of wish a couple times I probably could have break the 50 mark barrier early in the spring, but you're like, nah, you know, it's not time for that. You know, we got time later on. And, you know, maybe that speed badge he never had, but, like, he's the fastest trotter I've sat behind. You know, he is so fast. You know, it's unfortunate, but I think people understand, you know, how great of a horse he was. I no shame in me saying that he's the greatest trotter, like, you know, trotting colt like that I ever driven. You know, I was very fortunate to sit behind him, and I'm looking forward to drive his babies.
What about, was he ever sharper than even his Breeders' Crown win last season at 2? I mean, that was a matchup that was built up, and you know, obviously so, yeah. And TCI settled his back, and you know, you just trotted away. Yeah,
no, he was so good that day. You know, there's a few races like that where I thought like he was tremendous. That was definitely one of them. You know, and it was a big bounce back too, right? Because in Lexington. Got a little bumpy there on me in the stretch. You know, he had trot still then, but he got beat obviously. But you know, so there was pressure going to that race. And
one story about that, not to interrupt you, but I just think it's a cool story because a lot of people may not know it. You know, you weren't really comfortable enough to kick out the plugs that day in Lexington as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, like, you know, and yeah, he finished.
That was the battle with TCI.
Yeah, and I never had kicked the plug at that point, and he's getting bumpy in the stretch, and I'm just trying to hold him together, and then down by the wire, like he kind of like got his square in his gate again, and I kind of asked him a little. It was just one step too late. Like he was coming back after the wire, kicked the air plug. He was behind the gate again. He took off. You know, I'm like, sorry for that. No, I shouldn't have said that.
That's okay. We don't have, this is live.
Yeah. So like, no beep, you know. But yeah, they. No, I kind of wish I did it, like, you know, and then if you leveled off. But, you know, it's all in hindsight and it's done and over with. But I think everybody understands how great of a horse he was, or is.
He is a champion, and I think he's definitely one of the horses that we're going to miss seeing tonight. But best of luck to Carl. We'll look forward to seeing what he has in store for us for the future. How do you feel about those 2-year-olds last night?
Oh, I thought it was very impressive. Like, no, I'm not so happy with mine. But then like, some of the other ones, I think Maryland was truly really impressive. I think the performance he put up last night was big. You know, a little disappointed like the ones I had. You know, I think it looks good in Lulu. I thought she could have went from there. She scoped a little sick, and you know, same thing with Swingtown. He had a pretty good trip, and you know, same thing with him, sick as well. So like, you know, sometimes that's just the way it is. You can, again, like I was saying earlier about Carl, about having plans for the future. You can have plan of like you can trip him out of the elimination, have good spots, and they, they're not machines, right? They're racehorses, and so like both of them came up sick, so a little disappointing, but they'll live to, they're both very, very nice horses, and they'll live to go another day.
Well, go ahead, Gabe.
Well, hopefully that Cygnus hasn't moved down the shed row any there, because By the Missile, I know, is one of your prime chances here tonight, and he was very good last week.
Yeah, thankfully they're not close to each other. Yeah, Missile was great last week, and he's super sharp right now. Like, I wish maybe I drew inside a couple more spots to stay closer to Rootless. You know, it's just a matter of staying close enough to him. I think Missile will do the rest. You know, that's the way I look at it.
And speaking of Missile, he's one of the 5 drives that you have tonight for the Breeders' Crown. But I think that we see him with the short year he's had.
Last week, so I don't even think he was 100% sharp last week, but now it's his 3rd start in 4 weeks. I think it's like 5th start back now, so like it's all systems go. You know, he is in as good of a shape as he could be.
And here's a little sleeper maybe that I want to ask you about, because I thought she was much better last week. She had some traffic trouble. Talk to us about Caviar Bell. She added Lasix recently.
Yeah, she in a qualifier she was really, really good on first time Lasix. She stormed home. First time she paced home since middle of July for me. You know, she's been pretty. There's always the old saying, you know, they're all good locked in, right? So, like, you know, if you show them a little daylight, sometimes they don't like it as much. But she's a quality filly. She's got class, and, you know, every time when she's healthy, if you show her a little racetrack in the stretch, you know, she's more of a one move, you know, where you can leave and sit. She's not going to be able to do a whole lot of work. But, you know, if I can find a good trip for her, I think the way she responded the last 2 weeks, I think she's got a shot.
Now, looking at the fifth race, you pick up the catch drive there. Sad Bird Still Sing. Now, you're 20-1 morning line for post 9. Now, just interesting to ask. More pressure or less pressure, same feeling, knowing you're picking up a catch drive, a filly you've never even drove before. You're 20-1, 9-hole, opposed to being 5-2 with a big favorite. How does that feel?
I'm going to go on a limb and say there's a little more pressure on Carl.
Yeah, probably.
Replay, you know, she had good drop. You just, you know, I wish she had kind of had drawn the inside. So, I mean, she's not going to be able to do any kind of work in there from that post, right? So you kind of hope at the mercy of the pace and trip and see if we can pick up the pieces.
Now, we've already talked about Caviar Bell and By the Missile, but in the open trot, you have Best Friend Volo, post 9, first time Lasix though for Nancy.
Yeah, it's another one, same thing. You know, like you kind of wish he's been good, and he's got one really good. So it's going to be difficult, but, you know, stranger thing have happened. That, you know, I've gotten beat with favorite by horses like him, so let's turn the page on that.
Trailer in there in that race as well. Does that change the strategy? Sometimes they're even more likely to take a look out of there and maybe try and get some position early, you know, as opposed to knowing you're going to be even another spot back.
Probably less, I would say. You know, I mean, it makes it harder to get a spot somewhere in the middle because there's more horses on the inside. And they're going to be adjusting for position, you know what I mean, with those horses back there as well. So, you know, it makes it definitely tougher strategy-wise. I'm not a big fan of trailers. I understand why they have them, but, you know, I feel like you're in a stake race like that, you should have your nose on the gate.
And, of course, Always Be Naughty gets the rail in there, but I feel like that open mares, that's one of the toughest groups, right? We have the two big favorites in there, Twin B Joe Fresh, of course. We have Sylvia Hanover, and we have Grace Hill. But Always Be Naughty from the rail, what do you think?
She actually was really good last week, too. She was locked in. I never got to kick the plug. She was a really good third. And, you know, Deck's probably not going to like me hearing this, but, you know, she's the horse to beat. His mare, you know, she's been tremendous. I know she was beat last week, but, you know, she had a little break in between. So I think she's by far the horse to beat in here. But, you know, we need her to get roughed up. You know what I mean? Like, if she doesn't get roughed up, you know, we're looking for, you know, third or fourth, maybe if we're lucky, a little bit better than that. But, you know, I think it's his race to lose.
Well, Yannick, thank you so much for taking time. We didn't get to catch up with you for the preview show in Lexington, so we appreciate you finding time. But, of course, you knew Gabe was going to be on, right? So you said you weren't going to miss that opportunity.
I'm going to say, I got to be honest. So you asked me, I was like, I don't know. You said Gabe's there. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. See, Gabe, I told you. The man, the myth,
We are
the legend.
athletes.
Yannick, thank you so much. Best of luck tonight. We'll be right back.
We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing.
The Breeders' Crown Charity Challenge was conceived in 2019 as a way for host racetracks to forge positive relationships with their regional communities, raise awareness for the charitable missions in the sport of harness racing, and fund local organizations. To date, over $1.5 million has been raised for charity. On Tuesday, October 1st, 8 stallion breedings have been donated and will be auctioned off at the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Don't forget to vote in our social media contest for your favorite charity team.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Breeders' Crown preview show. Wendy Ross joined by Gabe Pruitt and now Derek Givner, the editor of DRF Harness. Derek, thank you so much for stopping by. It's Breeders' Crown night 2, right? Action is just heating up.
Yeah, it's always exciting to come to the Breeders' Crown and good weather. I'm just so excited about the good weather. It's so rare to get it on Breeders' Crown.
You know, Gabe and Derek were a little ahead of schedule, so Derek was here. He's a little bit, we're waiting on Dexter, which usually is how it goes, right? Now, you know about that is him getting him in the post-parade, but Derek said, I thought I had another 10 minutes. You don't need that 10 minutes, right? You got a lot of insight.
Walked in 20 seconds ago, and right here you sit now.
Let's see, you just threw me right in the house.
That's all right. That's right. That's usually how I operate, too, so I understand. I'm used to being in that seat.
Derek, your thoughts after last night, after those 2-year-old divisions?
I was, myself personally, a little upset because there were some horses that I really liked, Miss Belmar being one of them, who ended up running second at a pretty big price.
You had to like he took a shot, but though.
Yeah, I took a shot, and I took a pretty big shot.
Yeah.
So I was pretty upset. And then the last race, I actually had Blueprint at $18, but I lightened up because I took so many hits going into that. So for me, it didn't go so well. And then the Yankees lost, which I know makes you happy, but not me.
Epic game, though. Great game.
Great game, but it was a tough loss for me.
That was, wasn't that the first
Game
walk-off Grand Slam ever?
In World Series history.
Oh,
it was like
was a hit.
Kirk Gibson-esque, Freddie Freeman's been hobbling around, so
well,
enough about baseball,
we won't keep talking about that. Right now, we got another game tonight.
Yeah, we do.
So you got Breeders' Crown action, and then, of course, you have another Yankees game. Hoping for a little better turnout.
Trying to do double duty, and hopefully the Yankees can pull out game 2, because if they don't, we're in trouble.
I'm triple duty. Kentucky-Auburn kicks at 7:45 as well, so
boy.
triple duty for me tonight.
So, Derek, thinking about the Lou Print, as you said, now of all the Burke Colts that he had in there, did you think Lou Print was the one to get it done? I thought it was going to go more towards Swingtown, sipping on Ciroc, which has been great, but Lou Print showed that, and with Ronnie Wren being aggressive, it changed the game.
I just kind of like to stick with what I go in with. So going in, I felt like Blueprint was the best of the 3. Yes, post 9 wasn't ideal, but that just meant the better price. Yep. So I'm looking at it as like I'm still getting the best horse, and now I'm getting a better price for my money.
Now, thinking about how the year is ending with the horses, we don't have a real big standout. We have Twin B Joe Fresh, of course, Jiggy Jog being retired, the short but great year she had. Horse of the Year talk, do we have it up? And what about Maryland last night being a millionaire now? What do you think? Do we have any Horse of the Years in your mind coming to form?
I think Twin B Joe Fresh is clearly the horse to beat. If she wins tonight, I think she's going to be solidly, the one for Horse of the Year. I think there are a couple that could step up if she doesn't come through tonight. Captain Albano is one. Maybe
that's who I love Captain Albano. I don't know why. You
don't even pick him at the jug.
Do you have to bring that up, Dave? You always got to just bring it up. Trust me, I know that, and I said to myself I should have, and I hope that Albano doesn't know that I didn't pick him, but I don't think it mattered anyway.
So we'll see what happens tonight. I think a lot will be decided tonight, and it really will come down to the Breeders' Crown as far as Horse of the Year. I don't think it'll need to go much further than tonight.
Now, we have your best bet of the night as being winner's bet, but what else you got? What else you think we could see? Some surprises?
Your best bet's winner's bet?
Yeah.
1 to 5?
The horse that's most likely to win? I think that's the horse that's most likely to win.
I love him tonight as well, but he's going to be short.
And I actually went 3 deep in there. I don't say.
Wow.
I know he's been great, but
Which are the other 2 horses you really like?
I love Periculum, and what about Up Your Day-O?
Periculum got passed last week in the stretch. You have a dead closer who's getting passed in the stretch. You can't really love that.
No, I agree. And
I'd rather take a shot with a horse like Well from the 2nd tier, who had no front shoes last week, raced really well. I thought that was a good effort. Direction. You want a longer price horse?
Absolutely.
I think Direction's one you definitely want to look at.
Loaded last week. Absolutely loaded. Yeah, I wonder, sometimes those trip horses like that get overbet a little bit back. We'll see what happens with her tonight, but she's a must-use, in my opinion.
But it didn't really happen last night with Miss Belmar. That was a trip horse who, kind of closed late, and, everyone was like, oh, maybe this one. and still paid 8
Yep.
to 1. You got
Yep.
a decent Go Dog Go.
She took a lot of money early, Miss
She
Belmar.
did.
Yeah,
She opened up an even money.
that was you.
So any other tidbits or little things that you have that you could maybe give out here on the live preview show?
I just think you don't want to get enamored with a horse, what the horse did last time only. I mean, this is more about past performances. It's more about the horse as a whole over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 starts back. And don't just look at last week and say, well, this happened last week. It has to happen this way this week. It could, but it doesn't have to happen that way.
But also you look at the angles for the Svensons, Melanders, these guys and everybody is really has these horses ready for nights like this. So for me, maybe last week wasn't their best we're going to see, but I think tonight's the main objective. We wanted to make it to tonight, and tonight's what their main focus is going to be, and where I think you could get an Up Your Deo, a Periculum that could step up maybe more than we saw in the elimination.
I think the Sponstead barn is very interesting in that they couldn't win the Breeders' Crown at
Yeah,
all for
right.
many years. You know, they're just awful. And they kind of figured it out over the last 3 years. I mean, I think they have like 10 wins over the last 3 years in the Breeders' Crown now.
Three
They've really-
consecutive 2-year-old filthy trots, for sure, and 10 wins overall. Yep.
Yeah, Miss Landia, is that?
Lady Landia.
Lady Landia.
You're getting your horse mixed up,
Yeah,
Miss
with
Belmar.
Yeah.
Well, that's the horse that ran me
There's
down.
so many ladies and misses, it's hard
It was a
not to
horse
get.
that you knew could win, but the horse can't be out on the turns, as they
Yeah.
said. So you had to get the perfect trip, and everything just worked out.
Guys, they're going to show these Pick 4 tickets. We want to make some people some money. Gabe, we got that Send It In Army. We know they're always watching, especially we having you here on the live show. Guy, the Pick 4 tickets, mine's a little expensive, right?
It's okay.
But it's
You have deeper pockets.
You're on.
I don't know about that, but I wanted to cover. So for me, it's 3 deep. So giving me a $40 ticket. So it was a little bit expensive, but for me, starting on that first leg, I love Disney, Rocket Dale, and my girl EJ. You had to throw her in with the year she's had. But Disney, talking to Brett Pelling, I know Rocket Dale won down there at Lexington, but he was really high on Disney, saying she's just coming into form. Could we be the night see a filly like Disney? Maybe is tonight going to be her night?
If Disney's so good, why did Todd McCarthy get off Disney to go to Direction?
That's sort of my angle on that one as
Yeah,
well.
that could
It
be.
was an odd night last week. We saw 2 horses close from last. Daiquiri had over Disney, just a move you'd never see made. But yeah, Todd sort of leaned me to Direction as well. We know what we saw in Direction, by the way, who just barely made the final. I think it was Sarasota Hanover to her outside there that missed a lip, or we wouldn't see Direction back in this event tonight.
No, 100%.
And I'm okay with Disney picking up Tim Tetrick. I'm fine with that. So that's okay for me. Moving on to that second leg, we're looking at the 3-year-old colts. For me, I've just become such a fan of Sig Sauer.
I love 6 Hour, and I'm assuming I didn't see the crawl yet to see if the shoes are coming off, but Noel Daly said they were coming off.
Reportedly coming off.
And supposedly, he's just much better without the shoes. I think Tony Adams is an interesting horse there, even though Dexter Dunn got off. Drivers don't always make the right decisions. So I wouldn't put all my stock in what they do.
And, of course, we have TCI in that second leg as well. Are we going to see TCI be the horse that he could get back to being? Moving on to that third leg, we have that open pace. For me, By the Missile, a buck about Hanover from outside there. And it's my show. I think from the inside could have something to offer. If it shakes up a little bit with By the Missile and a buck about, I think you're going to see that early speed.
I like It's My Show a little bit, only for the fact that Ruthless Hanover's on the inside, and he's kind of an unknown. He can go out there and go 25, 52 to the half, and then where are all the other outside horses going? How hard is South Beach Star going to leave? So I think there are some questions there.
There are. The horses that interested me last time, and not to get too involved on one start, as you just made mention to earlier, but Coach Stefanos out-kicked a lot of horses through the stretch last week. That was a back half that was almost impossible to close into, 53-3, and he still gained a lot of ground there. I thought that was an eye-opening close there from a horse that, had just been okay of late coming in from Indiana.
And, of course, moving on to the fourth leg, we look for that open trot. Derek Givner's best bet of the night, led by Winner's Bet. For me, I like Winner's Bet. 5-7-2 for me, as I said, Periculum, and Up Your Deo back on Lasix.
Yeah, Up Your Deo back on license. I think Logan Park if he had drawn inside, I'd be more interested in using him on my ticket. But the way this race shapes up, I think Winner's Bet is probably going to go right to the front, and I just don't see a lot of competition.
Never been better in his entire life. I mean, he's super sharp right now. If he trots, he wins, I think.
Absolutely, and no Jiggy Jog, and Southwind Theory is not in this race, so losing those horses gives him a lot better chance, obviously.
Guys, my apologies. I think I've got something here. The wind's been blowing out here in New Jersey, so my apologies. But there you take a look at those Pick 4 tickets. Just gotten myself, Derek Givner, And of course, Gabe Pruitt. So take some. I hope we can make some people some money here tonight and have a little bit fun. Derek, thank you so much for stopping by.
Change the
and
game
being
for the
with
better.
us. Stay tuned.
The
We're
best
gonna be
place
back
to
with a
buy
guy
and
by the
sell
name of
horses.
Dexter Dunn.
I've had great success. Indispensable. Since holding their first sale in 2001, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace with over 13,500 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
It all comes down to the Breeders' Crown on Friday, October 25th and Saturday, October 26th at the Meadowlands Racetrack. The $6.6 million Breeders' Crown has 12 championship races over 2 days. Friday night highlights the top 2-year-old trotters and pacers. Saturday features 4 divisions for the top 3-year-olds and 4 races for the world's best open trotters and pacers. Post time both nights, 6:20 p.m. October 26th also has a free handicapping contest with a $10,000 prize pool. Details at playmeadowlands.com. Must be 18 or older to wager. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You just get 500 Dane, everybody get 500 down, everybody get 500, get there.
The Harrisburg sale from the Standardbred Horse Sales Company is happening November 4th through the 8th. See all the entries online by visiting theblackbook.com.
OnGate.com to consign their fall mix sale on November 15th and 16th. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Wendy Ross, Gabe Pruitt, now joined by driver Dexter Dunn. Dex, thank you so much for joining us here tonight as you're ramping up for Breeders' Crown Night Part 2.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, Wendy. Yep.
And last night was such a good night for you. Congratulations on the two wins you had last night. What about Maryland?
Yeah, no, he was super. You know, Breeders' Crown, not easy to win by any means, but you know, I was lucky. He had some good 2-year-olds last night to sit behind, and I mean, Maryland's just had an unbelievable year to win the race he's done and cap it off there last night. It was a great performance by him.
And looking at Maryland there, he certainly is, and I think he showed last night. Is he that? You see that colt like that, right? And you say, is he really the real deal? I think he showed last night that he certainly is, Gabe.
And we didn't get to hear the Fox feed. We were on that, so I understand. Is he going to continue to race this year?
Yeah, I think Marcus said he's going one more race for him.
Okay.
And then he'll get shut down for the year. So I guess we'll see him back here in a couple of weeks.
And a win there, he'd be the richest 2-year-old trotter of all time, right? Break TCI's record.
Well, it seems like they're just hitting those millionaire marks pretty early on, especially with that big race up there in Canada. That doesn't. It certainly helps to be that. Now, of course, what about Mickey and Minnie? I got to interview Chris Ryder. Chris is always one of my favorite interviews, and I said, you had post 8 in the elimination, post 9 in the final, but I said you had Mickey and Minnie and you had Dex. And he said, yep, I did.
Yeah, but I mean, to CJ's credit, I mean, he had her ready too, though. I mean, she was an amazing mile she put in. You know, I only really got in on a helmet for about, you know, less than an eighth of a mile, and then I was out the rest of the way in 50, and she was so tough last night.
And a big change from last week because the elimination, you know, she got used very hard just by chance. She had an outside post there, you left, then you had to attack there early, you took the lead, just kind of sort of caught up to her, I thought, the final yards. Last night, you sort of a lot more patient type steer. Was that by design? I'm assuming you thought she raced a little better, you know, with, you know, obviously being more patient than the week before?
Yeah, just the way it worked out. You know, there was enough action. You know, we had to use her already in the 9-hole game to get handy enough. Then there was enough action going on that, you know, I thought it'd be, you know, I could give the race away or give her a chance away if we keep going forward early. A bit like last week, it was the fractions were extremely fast. So, and she's tough. I sort of believe in her staying ability. So it was, the cards were dealt, but you know, she pulled it off.
Yeah, she was great.
Dex, what does it mean to you to be able to sit behind all these great horses? It just seems to be year after year now.
I mean, it's a dream, really, Wendy. You know, it's what we strive for. So, you know, you're in it. You love driving horses, but to you know, sit behind
some great horses. It makes it thoroughly enjoyable.
Funny story, Gabe, going back Breeders' Crown up in Canada 2019, that was Dex's first Breeders' Crown, right? He had 4 big favorites kind of going into that night. Dex, you remember, he was a lot more nervous back in 2019. Seems cool as a cucumber here tonight. How are you feeling? Or do you still get nervous, but it doesn't seem like it tonight?
Yeah, I don't know where you get that from, Wendy. You said that to me before. I've never really been one to get too nervous. Maybe I was a little touch wound up that night. But, pretty cruisy now, honestly. Don't really get them. And, but when you're sitting behind good horses, you have confidence and you just got to be happy going into your race.
And that was his first Breeders' Crown, too. So I remember. But he might not thought he was as nervous as he was.
I think you interviewed me and did a great interview and you didn't have the mic on the whole time,
Maybe you're just nervous about the interview, too. That's intimidating.
I know, I was. I think it was a little default behind the camera, but we won't go there and leave it at that. But goodness, we've come such a long way being here. Now let's kick off the action here tonight. Starts in race 4 with Nelson Bright Eagle. A mare for Team Svan said here that you've taken over the driver 2 starts back. Tell us a little bit about it.
As long as we stay flat, number 1, obviously, first goal, she's got to be in with a chance.
When you import a horse like that from overseas, it seems like it just maybe takes them a little bit to get acclimated. Obviously, they have to quarantine for a tick there, and it seems like that she's just gotten better and better and better as her U.S. career has gone on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, so definitely got to hesitate them a while to get acclimatised. Even the racing style's different over here than Europe, so. Yeah, but she's really hitting her form lately.
What do you credit the break to last time? Was that just try to get out of the gate or
bad hands?
Bad hands. Well, I don't know about that, but was that just an uncharacteristic thing, or is
it a warning? I had a wider draw that day too. I sort of just coming down with her into the first turn, and she might have touched herself a little bit there and went off stride, but. Hopefully that doesn't happen tonight.
Yep.
Moving on to the 5th race, we look at Date Night Hanover, a filly that's really come to form for you. It threw out there down there at Lexington. Breeders' Crown, how she was in that elimination. Just got beat a length, but how was she finishing, and how do you feel she is coming in tonight, 4-1 morning line?
Yeah, she's been great this year. Obviously extremely unlucky in the Hamiltonian Oaks here. That makes you happy, and she's been putting her right foot forward. But it's a good group of 3-year-old fillies, isn't it?
It is.
And we've got a wide enough draw. We're going to need things that go away our own way a little bit.
Now, speaking of a trip like that, sometimes even the trip last night with Mickey and Minnie, it's definitely not as easy as it looks, right? As you make it look.
I mean, when you're racing the best horses in the country, when the money's up for grab, it's not easy at all. That's why, a win for Mickey and Minnie last night, she deserves all the credit. It was an amazing run.
We talked about this about John Campbell a little bit earlier, but how in your mind can you calibrate? Is it hard? If you have a disappointment, say Lou Lovegood last night, 20 minutes later you've got another $700,000 race. How tough is it to try and just get back your mind back on track and sit behind? You've got another huge money race, right after it.
Yeah, I mean, when Luna made a break last night, you're pissed off really. For that, she doesn't usually make a break. She's usually solid, but I think over the years you just learn to literally turn the page, and go to the next race. And it's when I go back on the track, it's the last thing on my mind.
It doesn't do any good to dwell on it.
Exactly. So it comes with time, though, being a race driver, but. You just really got to forget about it and move on to the next one.
I love our live show. We have profanity on this show.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's great.
The rating may have to be like NC-17 next time that we're going to have the drivers on. But you didn't do as bad as Yannick, by the way. So
and the team says that's why we're on the internet. We're on the internet, so no holds barred. Moving on to the 6th race here. Of course, my girl EJ Post 2. She's just been great for you.
Yeah, obviously great last year. She's been just super all this year. Awesome little filly to sit behind. She's got so much character about her. Gives me a hard time post parading, but once you put her nose on the gate, she's a proper racehorse. And was great in elimination last week. She really hung tough there.
Moving into the 7th race, Amazing Catch now. Interesting, as you were driving Tony Adam, take us through kind of how his Amazing Catch back to Tony Adam, how that's kind of gone and how you feel about that colt.
They're both nice colts. I mean, Tony Adams has been really good this year. Amazing Catch, he's turned up in, a lot of the big races this year. He was third in the Hambo, he was second in the Futurity down there in Lexington. He's had a good win in Canada in the Canadian Trotting Classic. So he just had the draw, really, is what I sort of went by for this race. Tony Adams was very good last week, but just thought from the 10 higher draw it could be tough for him, but I could be wrong for sure. But
Was there an equipment issue with Amazing Catch off the gate last week? Did I see something go on there? The boot, possibly? John Rollis has tipped me off of that. I haven't went back and watched the replay yet. Okay.
Okay. He was good last week. He got sprinted home pretty quick, and I think probably the shoes will be pulled tonight by Aki and Sarah, and he's usually good like that.
Moving on to the 8th race, of course, the Buckabed Hanover. Post 8, though, he's been really, really good for you. But, of course, you're going to take on that Sharp by the Missile. What do you think it's going to set up there? You think it's going to be a lot of front-end speed? Do you think a Buckabed will be able to take advantage of some of that, maybe?
I mean, we're probably going to have to. I mean, obviously, having Ruthless in there last week from the in there tonight from the 1. The speed's probably going to be on, and but Buckabed's just had a fantastic year. He hasn't been winning. He's been very, very close in a lot of big races. So the draw for sure makes it a little bit hard for him. But he's overcome that before. We've got some top class performers like say by the Missile in there, all inside of us. So he's going to have to be good. We need a little bit of luck and the race to go our way, but he can definitely do it.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt your feelings to see about 53 and 3 pop up at the half. I'm sure if you're looming.
Quicker than that.
Moving on to the 9th race, of course, we're in our pick 4 here. Winner's Bet. Derek Givner's best bet of the night. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, he's been in fantastic form lately. He's coming off 3 good wins.
Perhaps it could happen. What do you see as a driver behind that? Do you really think, in your mind as well, it seems to really step up a horse? What's the positive, when you're sitting behind a horse, do you really see an improvement? Does it make a difference, or is it just, the same horse? Do you think it makes as big a difference as the gamblers, is what I should probably say?
Well, it's always horses for courses, but I mean, for example, pull on the shoes, I think it definitely can help a trotter. They tend to trot a bit more smoothly, and they tend to go faster. So if you see a horse getting the shoes pulled, the track's good. It's it's a sign that it could be good.
And as you as a driver, when you see a trader pull shoes, does that indicate to you that you would want to take a big shot this day? They really want to put all the chips on the table, so to speak.
Yeah, it means it's go time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shoes are off. It's game on, but it's always game on for sure. But if the trainers have confidence to pull their shoes, it gives us confidence to go out there and race.
Sure.
Well, yeah, and I think when you pull those shoes, you can't do it all the time. So you got to pick your spots, and I think when they're going to be best, and when the money's on the line, as it is tonight, those are kind of the starts you want to pick.
Yeah, I think down there in Lexington, the Red Mile and Futurity Day, I think Gabe was going through equipment changes.
I think we're going to have to start announcing who's wearing shoes. It's going to be much less work on me. Just assume they're all off, and if we tell you they're wearing them, yes.
The boys have all got shoes off.
Yes. I almost took my shoes off to announce. That was chaos the last day.
Yeah.
Guys, 3 divisions left to get through. 10th race here for the 3-year-old colts, Mirage Hanover. I love that you and him you've been such a great fit on this colt from the rail. I think we're going to see he's a big, big player in here.
Yeah, I mean, just obviously got on him late this year when he was huge, both heats at the Jug and Wicked Mile. He'll go with you. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be easy. It's going to be a great race. Obviously, Albano's been, in unbelievable form this year, but we've got a good draw, and I've got a good enough horse to be given a shot.
And it looks like you've got, a field where you got 3 horses that really stand out in the Nijinsky, and of course your Colt Mirage, Henry Captain, Albano. A little bit of a chess match off the gate there. You've got the inside position. Is the first thought, hopefully you don't get away third in that pack. Would you like to, avoid that situation where you're not, having to attack first up late, or how do you approach that race?
I mean, I was looking actually at the field earlier today. It was going to be pretty, like you say, a chess match there early. So I'm lucky with my guy. Really can. Pretty quick. He was good in his elimination.
Was very good.
Stepping out. So, I mean, there could be more than just one or two horses coming out of that gate. There's 3-year-old colts, so they can go sometimes too.
Well, speaking of horses coming out of the gate, we have one more division to get through, and this has been my favorite division. I feel like this group of open mares, and you know a mare in here, Twinbee Joe Fresh. Now, speaking of profanity, from post 10 last week, when your big girl got beat there, all the way from post 10 in that effort, was there any profanity crossing the wire when you know she just got nipped there?
No, not profanity. I mean, I was really happy with the run. I don't think I could use barrier 10 as an excuse for getting beat last week. I got across pretty easily early. So, Grace Hill's just a great mare. He sat on my back and was too good for me the other night. No real excuses on it, but not worried about it either. I think I'm still really happy with the way she was last week, and obviously the year she's had. So, full faith in her going tonight.
She's been an overwhelming favorite almost every start this year, so you've had to be, overly aggressive with her most times when she's just laid over fields. Do you think she's better on the front, or is she better chasing a target?
Well, before this year, I'd say she was always better chasing. She used to love the first over move on her, late last 3/8 of the mile, but this year she sort of flipped the script on that a little bit and won a lot of the big races on the front. So I think versatile really doesn't really bother her now. We'll just see how the race unfolds.
Yeah, post 5 gives you plenty of options at least, much better than post 10 last week.
Yeah, exactly, and she's a lot like Mariah Chandler. I can do whatever I want with her, so whatever I tell her to do, she'll do it, and we'll go from there.
Dex, thanks you so much for stopping by. Now, I hope everybody got that insight, getting to talk to Dex and go through all of those Breeders' Crown eliminations from last week and how he feels the drives will be coming into tonight. Now, they tell us we would just stay here and talk all night, but guys, they tell us that we got to wrap it up, right? Dex has got to get to work. Gabe, you got to get to work. And, of course, we'll be getting to work as well. We got a great night of racing coming your way here from the Meadowlands with those 8 final divisions for the Breeders' Crown. You heard it from the man himself, Dexter Dunn. We hope you got that insight there for me. My best bet of the night, Captain Albano, not to say anything of take away from Mirage Hanover. What was your best bet of the night?
You'd at least gotten it, wait until Dexter got up there.
I know, but he's going to close it out with us, so he's got to be here. But Albano is just, I'm just a fan. Yeah, I love that little colt.
I've got some bad news for Dexter. My best bet of the night is Nelson Bright Eagle. She made the break last time in Lexington, and she had to lose 15 lengths or more, I think, there at the start of the race. And like you said, she came back and just missed, needed another 5 or 10 yards. So.
Yeah, all right, well, I'll try and get my start.
Yeah, it's not too, so sorry to give you bad news on your first drive.